Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. We're here back on ACC. It's been a little while. It has been a little while indeed. But we're back for a one-off race at Zandvoort in GT4s. Can't remember last time we raced GT4s. Actually curious now. But it has been a while. Last time we were on ACC was running the Nordschleife back in April. And the last time running GT4 was before the GT2s even came out. Probably back in last year by the looks of things. So it has been a good while. But hello, welcome to the stream. We're here at the end of the practice session. Driver's briefing has just finished. You can see doing some race sim laps, about a second off the pace, but obviously we don't know if the drivers up front are running race fuel or quali fuel. Format for tonight is we'll have a 30-minute qualifying session. Then we will have two 30-minute races. Both races will have their grid set by the qualifying session. So, important qualifying session, but 30 minutes is a lot of time. It is a lot of time indeed. Could easily get 15 laps in. Well, you can get 18 laps in technically. One of them will be an out lap. But yeah, the race is, I suspect, should be 18 laps, judging from what I've calculated. But yeah, as there's only a minute left in practice, we're just going to wait for qualifying to take over. I'm probably just going to use the first half of quali as more race sim practice. And then we'll come in, take some fuel out and do some lower fuel runs. Not that there is too much of a difference, to be honest, between race fuel and quali fuel. Race fuel should be just over 40 litres. Of course, in qualifying, we'll take that down to maybe about 11 or 12 litres. As the practice session comes to a close, checkered flag is out, so everyone will just be finishing their final laps. Top drivers are really close to getting into the 43s, and I imagine they will get into the 43s come quali. Track only in a fast state at the moment, so when it does get up towards optimum, I'm sure we will see some 43s. And another thing to note is race 1 today in-game starts at 6 PM. Race 2 starts at 10 PM, so it'll be dark for the second race. Though temperatures are quite low since we are already in the evening. But with all the high-speed corners here at Zandvoort, especially in the middle sector, the tyres, especially the left-hand side tyres, do still get quite warm. But yeah, when it cools down a little further come the night, the car should feel quite good, hopefully. I have mentioned, of the GT4s, I am running the Aston Martin GT4. We're not the only Aston Martin, we are the highest by the end of practice, but we've got another, looks like another 3 Astons throughout the field. With a whole host of cars, we've got KTM leading the practice session, ahead from Mercedes, the Chevrolet, Ginetta, Alpine in there, of course. We do have a couple of people in the Mazda GT4, which if you don't know, does not have ABS or traction control, is the only car in the game to not feature ABS. So that'll give an added challenge for them. We've also got a couple of Porsches, McLaren in there as well. So good mix, good variety across the field. But the qualifying session should be getting underway in a few seconds' time. There we go. There'll be the usual mad rush. We've got 30 minutes, so we'll just let the mad rush head out. And then wait no more than a minute, I'd say here, just when the first people out get about halfway around the lap, then we'll head out ourselves. You can see how busy the track is with everyone that immediately goes out. Sort of getting a second wave of cars. So now that the front runners are getting into the final sector, we'll head on now. We don't need to push too much, we've got a nice bit of space, both in front and behind us. But of course, everyone being somewhat bunched up, they've spread out a little bit over the course of the lap. But there will be a few people that do back up. You can see a couple of white flags being shown already at the start of the final sector. Car bouncing off the curb a bit. See the surface of the tyres already overheating through the right-handers at the far end of the circuit. More white flags as people back up.
There's a slow car ahead.
As I mentioned, we have plenty of space behind us. I didn't think we were going to catch any cars with how far back we were. But we have done so. Understeer through the final corner. Of course, tyres not up to temperature just yet. Or up to pressure. As I mentioned, we'll just head round, do some race sim laps. A couple of cars in front of us making mistakes.
Slow car ahead.
And with everyone having ventured out onto the track now, the track is seemingly even busier than was just moments ago. So as we head out onto start finish, our first lap 146.1 knot representative. Don't even think it was valid. We didn't get a message for new fastest laps, or personal best, I should say. Let me just check. Yep, track has reached optimum.
Yellow flag ahead. Watch out in front.
McLaren spun in the wall. As alright, the final couple of corners.
Yellow flag ahead. Watch out in front.
45.7.
So fastest lap.
Definitely have time in it. There's a couple of attempts through turn 1 alone. Using all of the track through the first sector. Four and a half tenths up on our delta. If you're looking for the delta, it's on the far right in the race logic. The dash, they're displaying the predicted time in the bottom right of it. Just starting to push the car a little bit more now.
Yellow flag is set to 1.
6.5 tenths up as we approach the final sector.
Watch out.
No, McLaren spun this time. 9 tenths up. Heading into the penultimate corner. Second up now. Not quite flat out through the final corner. But that will get us into the 44s.
So fastest lap.
Had a bit more speed into turn 1, but wasn't able to carry the speed through and out of the corner. Just have a quick check. We're just over a second off the current pole time. Couple of quicker people behind, so I'm just gonna let them through.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
20 minutes left in the session still.
Yellow flag, be careful. Yellow flag in sector 2.
And deep into turn 1.
Yellow flag, be careful there.
Cutting the inside curve there as much as possible. Carrying a bit too much speed there into the final right-hander in the middle sector. Or just sliding out wide and ultimately also overheating the tyres. Deeper on the brakes that time. Felt like I hit the same braking point. Maybe just ABS kicking in a bit more.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
We'll make this the final lap of our race run. Before we head into the pits and take out some fuel. Do a slide there off the curb. It seems like there's definitely a bit of a peak, sort of the third lap I think it was. Got the 44 out of. So we'll fill up for 4 laps using 2.1 litres a lap, so we'll need 9 litres. I also want to increase the rear ride height by 1 and reduce the rear wing. And put a bit more pressure in rear tyres. Welcome, Cora. Welcome along. How are things? Things are good. We're just about halfway through the quali session.
Low tire pressure, stay away from curbs. Yellow flag in sector 2.
could have timed the pit exit better. Again, a bit of an awkward situation with some slower cars around me.
Slow car ahead.
Trying not to overheat the tires too much, getting them up to temperature. So yeah, I'm going to go after this Janetta here. Kicks up a bit of grass.
Yellow flag accepted.
Out of the final corner. This is still another prep lap. To finish getting the tires up to temperature.
Yellow flag ahead. Watch out in front.
Up to pressure, and then we'll have a couple of laps to go for it, flat out.
Slow car ahead.
Gonna need to back off more.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Well, won't need to back off more. That was a little bit dicey. But glad we got through there. So here we go. Start first of our proper quali runs here. Bit of time in turn 1, but not a lot. A little bit of curb there. Turn 3, which isn't ideal. But getting a bit of time from our best sort of race practice lap that we did in the first half of quali here. Front tire got unloaded. Give a bit of understeer in the car. Yeah, this is pre-F1 modifications. Sort of 2018 Zandvoort. Of course, Zandvoort, one of the tracks that released with the game's original full release. which, like Barcelona, an old track that has since had
Yellow flag, be careful.
modifications. They've made the ACC version outdated. We did go faster on that lap. 44.48. Got us up to P11.
Yellow flag, be careful there.
Picking up time through that right-hander. Alpine moves out of the way, thankfully. And a little hot to that final right-hander. Just a bit wide there. Lost all the time that we gained. Yeah, the platinum license did pop up. It dropped to gold for some reason in some race. I have a final corner. It's not going to be an improvement this lap, but yes, welcome along, Kiki.
Losing time in sector 2.
So we're currently now 1.4 seconds. The pole time just over is a 143.002. So just a few thousandths from getting into the 42s even, which I was not expecting, to be honest. The car felt good, so I'm not going to change anything. Just make sure to go into the setup to get a fresh set of tyres. And it looks like this part of the track this looks like a good gap here. For our final stint in this qualifying session. Mercedes in front making a mistake, running wide up to the wall. Well, the Pro Am is less of a driver thing and more of a car thing. From the real life GT World Challenge, the car entries will be classed as Pro, Silver, Am, Pro Am, Bronze, Gold. But the drivers themselves are only classified as Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze. Those are the sort of driver licenses. Ooh. Quite the mistake there for the Mercedes, just running wide in onto the grass and spinning into the wall. But generally the, of course the car and entry classification is based on the drivers in it. So pro teams are made up of entirely gold and platinum drivers. Pro-Am is a combination of gold and bronze drivers. And there's it depends on the series and on the race, of course. Like the 24-hour races have will have different requirements for what drivers you have compared to like 1-hour sprints. But bronze is basically your wealthy gentleman drivers. Silver yeah, silvers are sort of your intermediate drivers. Gold are more of your sort of are your like professional grade, like yeah, your professional grades, and then your platinums are your like best drivers. I believe all F1 drivers, or something like that. Maybe all F1 world champions are automatically like platinum drivers. I think, in fact, factory drivers, so drivers hired by a manufacturer such as Mercedes, BMW, etc. Automatically get platinum. There's some conditions like that. There's also an age thing, like once you're over 55, I believe, or 50, one of the two, you're automatically bronze. Even if you're a really quick driver. You'll automatically get classed as bronze. Anyway, enough license category and car class talk. It's time for a final qualifying lap here. A bit disrupted thanks to a back marker leaving the pit lane, which that's on me there. I just ran in too deep. Yeah, so we'll have to settle for the 44.4. Although I don't know why you're coming out of the pits within a minute of the session finishing. You don't have time to do another lap. Maybe I can close something here. A bit of a bounce off the curb there cost me time. starting the final sector, just a few hundredths down on our personal best. Oh, that's way too much carb. Oh well, we'll finish off. The top two have got themselves into the 42s. We will end up as quickest Aston Martin once more. So we'll be, with a few people still left to finish laps. Currently sitting in P15, 1.5 seconds off the pole time. Cars continuing to go past. Recently, I've noticed in qualifying sessions, ACC's been a bit bugged in showing valid and invalid laps, so can't really assume anything here. Well, there's not many more people to cross the line. It's looking like we will finish the session off in 15th. I think the 29 is the only car that could displace us, apart from the... I think the 491's finished. And the 92... 92 didn't even get a valid lap in by the end. So yes, we will finish off in 15th. I don't know, for some reason the server did this as well in practice. It just ran the full overtime, despite everyone being done. Unless it's counting the 2-4s actually not being done, which it looks like might be the case. But yeah, there we go. About 3/4 of a tenth off of 14th. Just about 200ths in front of P16. So very close, sort of in the mid-pack. This is pretty much halfway through the pack. We could be in for a couple of interesting races here. So server ticks over. We have a couple of minutes before the formation lap begins. I'm not entirely sold on the setup changes they made. They didn't feel bad, but I don't know how much of an improvement they made. I'm going to add another bit of rear ride height just because I can. We're going to need 42 litres of fuel. You're using about 2.1 litres a lap. The estimated, of course, I think is usually a very safe estimate from ACC. I don't even know if it is accurately based on the GT4 cars, to be honest. With the GT4 cars being added in, I would assume it's somewhat accurate, actually. Because all the GT3 cars have probably got their own fuel calculations that the game has to estimate. Whereas if it was just inputted values for each track and every car had the same estimation, you know, I wouldn't be too surprised if the GT4s weren't accurate. But yeah, so we've added a bit more rake to the car. We've already got the rear wing at minimum. Straight line speed, of course, isn't really of any importance here at Zandvoort. Straights are not long enough. Start-finish straight is your longest. It's your top speed point, but that is then limited by how much speed you can carry around the final corner. We should be ready, so we can just hit drive. We'll have the inside for the start. Back on the 8th row of the grid.
Stay single file.
Waiting now as front cars pull away. I forgot to turn the ignition on. Lol. Which isn't a bad thing. Does mean we got to sort of push a bit more up to our spot on the formation lap. Generally people do wait a little bit. Not as much as I ended up waiting there, but people do wait a little bit just to so I can go a little bit quicker up to their spot. Of course, the GT4's no tyre warmers, tyre blankets, anything of the sorts. Tyres start at ambient temperature. Stone blue cooled. So we're just getting the heat, getting the brakes up to as hot as they can comfortably be. That heat then, of course, radiates into the tyres. You'll do see them on GT3s, but you don't really notice the difference on GT3s since their tyres are already warm. So the brake temp doesn't make too much of a difference, but it makes a big difference in the GT4s. It's very important. You'll never get them up to operating temperature or pressure on the formation lap with the brake warming, but anything is better than stone cold. But you've also got to make sure you don't damage your brakes from running them too hot. You can do it a little bit, but you don't want to do it too much. Especially if you're starting like an endurance race, where you're going to be running the brakes a long way. But we're only using them for 30 minutes, so we should be grand. Waiting for the start around the final corner here. There's the call. Up to speed. There's the green, a little late on the upshift from second. Just taking it easy into turn one. Mercedes in front is a little bit wide, but not quite able to get alongside. Car trying to throw it round the outside of the inside for the hairpin. Now we're going to be side by side. Car backside of it. Quite sensible into this fast right-hander, especially from over the crest. Mercedes having a look down the inside, bit of contact up ahead. Bit more contact there on the outside, more contact behind. We got that with no damage, but we are going to have to go a bit defensive from the Chevy there. Go for the inside, but they're on the curb, which is really going to compromise them. Into the penultimate corner. And we've Had a nice clean lap one, managed to avoid the contacts, and we're up to P12 from 15th where we started. We've now got a purple Mercedes in front of us. That we're closing up to. But the two Camaros behind us are right on our tail as well.
Yellow flag is set to all.
Mercedes a little bit wide in front. Closing up quite a bit. Of course, Zandvoort, a very difficult track to overtake. Not a lot of space. Side by side with the Ginetta and another Camaro in front. A little bit of understeer onto the grass around the final corner in the slipstream of the Mercedes.
Well done, mate. The fastest lap so far.
Still side by side with the Camaro in front and the Ginetta. We've got a run on the Mercedes as it to back up. Try and go round the outside, turn 3 a little bit wide.
Car on the right.
Camaro's going to try and take advantage of that. And it is going to get through on us, unfortunately. There's McLaren going slowly in front. It is blue flagged, and there has been an incident from Sir Concertina effect behind it.
Car on the left. Clear on the left. Car on the right.
As we dive up the inside of the Ginetta. Looks like the McLaren's being a bit stubborn and getting out of the way. We're up to P10 after all of that. With a bit of heads up driving.
Set to all.
And behind white and purple Camaro. Got a few cars in the pits. One is just coming out now. A little deep into turn 1. Being an instant further back. Going into turn 1. We'll have to see how this Porsche reacts to being under blue flags. Does look like the Camaro is getting away from us. Porsche runs wide into the grass, spins back on track, lucky to just avoid it. That did have me quite nervous. But now we should hopefully be out of carnage zone for a little bit. Janetta still right behind us. Janetta seemed a little more confident on the brakes, but the Janetta is known as a more handling orientated car with the slowest straight line speed of the class. Fun fact, the Janetta tops out at Paul Ricard, not in terms of running out of power, but it runs out of gears. You end up hitting the rev limiter for 6th gear for half of the Mulsanne straight at Paul Ricard. Get deep into the right-hander. Sliding on the tyre, which isn't good as any good. Bit wide onto the grass as well. We've completely dropped the cars behind us. They're 8 seconds back. They must have got caught up in one of the lapped car incidents. But while this may only be a 30-minute race, you can still very much damage the tyres and lose a lot of time. Looks like another push is coming out of pit lane, a bit wide for the Camaro ahead, but we've fallen over a second back. Just making a couple of little mistakes. It'll be interesting to see where the front left is at. At the end of the race. Let's see if we damage the tyres at all. Janetta getting offline, trying to look for an opportunity. Just gotta keep it neat and tidy. Penalty for someone speeding in pit lane. Well, if you're in pit lane, your race is already kind of gone to... isn't going well to begin with. So we've got an Aston Martin that's a lap down. A couple of cars in front. Janetta in slipstream. Go a little bit defensive. Just to discourage any dive. But Janetta does seemingly have a little bit more pace than us. Probably helping it with the slipstream. Getting past the Aston a little bit awkwardly, having to make sure we didn't understeer into it. Janetta running a little bit wide onto the grass. That gives us a bit of breathing room, but for how long? Now we'll get a better idea of how much pace the Janetta has. depending on how quickly it can catch up to us. Yellow flag here at turn 1. It's Mercedes that has spun. And we'll get P9 from that, but we can imagine that they'll be chasing us down again. The Ginetta also got past the Mercedes. So just have to keep our head down, not make any mistakes. Now that we have the gap back to the Ginetta. Who knows, maybe the Ginetta will lose time fighting the Mercedes.
Yellow flag acceptable.
We're at 10th up on our personal best delta. Before that, final left-hander in the middle sector. So 10 slower than our personal best. Ginetta behind. Only half a tenth quicker. We've got a crash up ahead. It's number 92, which is that troublesome McLaren. Running deep to the banked hairpin there. Mercedes has fallen behind a lapped car that is showing good pace. That little mistake just has allowed the Ginetta to catch back up as we hit the halfway mark of the race. Yeah, so the Chevy you can see in the rear view screen is a lap down. Must have been involved in an incident in the early stages of the race. Had to take a trip through pit lane. And now damage repaired or whatever is back on pace. The Mercedes behind. Not too sure what that Porsche is doing exactly. It's allowed the Ginetta to close up a little further, or a little closer I should say.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Using a bit of that outside exit curb. Which is quite risky, very easy to get onto the grass there. And we When you get on the grass of that between the two right-handers, you know, the track never straight inside, it continues curving to the right, and the tyres on the grass just makes it very easy to slide straight off the track. We're holding the Ginetta off for now. Welcome, Kevin. Glad to have you join us. We're just over halfway through the first sprint race tonight. We started P15. There's a bit of carnage, so we've been able to get ourselves up to P9. Currently getting chased down by a Ginetta. It does seem a little bit quicker than us, but it's just struggling to find a way past here at Zandvoort. Remember, we do have a second sprint race as well coming up, another 30 minutes. We'll be starting from P15 again. But it will be in the dark at 10 PM in game. A little bit cooler, which should help the tyres, especially that front left, which you can see just going yellow from it overheating. Hopefully that race will have a little less carnage than this race has had. See the lights on the right hand side of the dash just lighting up. That's the ABS. Car just pushed it a little bit wide through the long right hander. See the front left overheating once more from that sliding. Which will not be doing us any good. A little bit wide here through the final corner. Slightly dipping a wheel into the grass. Ginetta has gone for an ambitious dive there, to be honest. We give them the space, but they just had gone in way too deep. I had a small inkling that the Ginetta would try it. They were just a little bit closer than they had been for the last few laps. They sensed a little bit of an opportunity, maybe a little bit desperate, kind of like what we've seen from Lando Norris at Austria just over a week ago. They went for the move. We give them space on the inside. Oh, car in front has made a mistake. That's one of the Maseratis. That was previously sitting in P7, has now fallen to P8. But Ginetta, it was quite a hit there. You can see 4 seconds of damage. Ginetta obviously had a half spin, has carried on but has lost a few seconds from the incident. Now we have that Camaro behind us. There's a lap down. So as we now find ourselves just under 2 seconds back from this Maserati. Of course has been a little bit quicker than us for the whole event so far, but maybe it has a bit of damage. It's slowing it down. Maybe it's damaged its tyres, as I mentioned earlier. The Maserati is the only car in this game not to have ABS, doesn't have TC as well either. So none of the assists that help you protect the tyres. So they very well can be locking up to run wide, of course flat spotting the tyres in the process. And once you flat spot tyres, you're just going to be struggling that little bit more for the rest of the race. .44.9 from Maserati, we were 10th and a half quicker that lap. But there's only 5 minutes left in the race. We'll have 4 more laps. The Ginetta seems to have lost a bit of pace after that attempted dive bomb. They've fallen now 4 seconds back. Database kick in a couple of times this lap. Or just doesn't quite have as much grip this latter stage of the race. Maserati seems to be back on pace this lap. Yeah, 44.4. Did see a car there with a 1 minute 50 last lap. I believe that is the Ginetta that slapped up ahead. Car was in the grass, kicked up some dust. Three laps to go in this race. It has well and truly calmed down after the unfortunate incidents are there with involving lapped cars. Hopefully this Ginetta doesn't add to that list. As it pulls over to this 3, it will indeed avoid that. Though they'll be trying to hold on to 29th place from the Camaro behind. Though with their pace, I am doubtful that they will be able to do so. Did get a little scared with them still sort of having their nose nearly up the inside into the next right-hander. Did turn out of the corner. Give them some space just in case. As you have seen on the radar, there was overlap for a brief moment. Better play it safe than sorry. As even another lap car up ahead, it's a Porsche that's time that we've already lapped. A couple of laps down now. S3 on the inside of the hairpin didn't give us a lot of space, but there isn't much space to begin with on the track. Just 40 seconds left on the clock. The leaders coming up to the final corner, so they'll get round to start one more lap. This stage is keeping it neat and tidy, not making any mistakes. There's confirmation of the leader starting the final lap. Final corner. Just slightly tapped the grass there on the outside. Into this right-hander. Using all of the track on the exit there. Getting into the ABS again. This time I believe that was on the rear tires. I believe the green lights in the bottom corners of the dash are the rear tires, the blue ones are for the front tires. Leader has finished the race. Someone's got a stop-go penalty for speeding in pit lane. As I mentioned earlier, if you've been through pit lane, you're not going to be getting... Your race has already gone down the drain pretty much. And through the final corner now. It will be P9. Gaining 6 positions that race from starting in P15. Certainly got lucky with the incidents and lucky that we were able to avoid them And yeah, things calmed down. The Ginetta had to go, but was just too deep on the brakes. Got into the door. That's a Chevy still racing. Apparently. Yeah, got into our door and had a half spin, which we're quite fortunate that the contact went that way. You know, could very easily have ended it with us having a half spin or a spin and the Ginetta carrying on. Yeah, hopefully we have a bit of time. I don't know how much time we have between the races. I hope we just have a little bit of time. Track temperature is 19 degrees ambient, 21. I think it started 22 degrees. Track temperature, degrees Celsius. That is going to drop a little bit when we load in for the second race. Load in at 10 PM. The sun will have set. The track will be casted in darkness. You can see it was a Ginetta that won the race in the end to Mercedes and a KTM. So 3 manufacturers on the podium. Again, we were the highest placed Aston. Which is good. Yeah, oh, we've already loaded in. We don't have much time. So we're down to 15:15. So I'm going to put 3 clicks in all the tires except the front left. I'm only going to put 1 click in that because it was a little overpressured in the long corners. We can check. I was going to say we can check what the tire wear was, but it looks, I think it reset because used 1 set of tires in practice, 3 in quali. So yeah, it looks like the tires from the race reset, so we won't see what condition they're in, unfortunately. A little bit annoying. We'll keep everything else the same. Yeah, we have 50 seconds. You don't know how you can talk that much while driving. It's impossible. Yeah, it's very difficult talking while driving. Having like 15 years of playing racing games.
30 seconds. Seconds.
Yeah, it's, you know, having that experience means that things are a little more second nature to you. Like, especially if you're on your own, just sort of driving around. Like, when you've got so much experience, you almost get to the point where you could do it with your eyes closed and you could do it half asleep. Like, I remember when I went to my local go-kart track, it was a short, like, 30-second lap indoor one. I did feel like I was like completely lost focus on the race, on my driving. Yeah, I was still doing like the same lap times around the track. It just becomes that second nature, and so when you have that experience, you don't need as much focus. You'll notice in the more intense parts of the race when there's a lot of cars around you and there's a lot to be keeping track of and focusing on. I do go a bit quieter because it is very difficult. But other than that, it's just sort of say either what you're saying or what you're feeling. It's not much more than that, to be honest. You know, it's like things are happening around you, just describe what's happening and talking about it. Especially if you can give a bit of insight with the experience you have, or about your mindset, what you're thinking, or maybe even try and think, right, what could that person be thinking? What could they be doing? In between the races, I should say, the Janetta that had an attempted dive at us did apologise. It said, sorry for the tap, but was the best run I got on you, which I said, you know, that was the closest they had been. Just braked a fraction too late to get in front on turn in. I don't think... I can see why they attempted it. I said in the moment that that's sort of the closest they were. But I don't think braking a little bit later to get ahead by the turning point would have really helped. It just would have made a worse incident. It is one of those things with GT racing, it can sometimes be hard to pass, especially when the cars are so balanced. I haven't mentioned this yet, but we are running the LFM BOP for GT4s to just help make sure the cars are as close to each other for performance as possible. Of course, how they make up the lap time still varies. The Janetta, of course, will still be slightly better handling. Other cars will get it top speed. Well, what top speed you can get. Others will get an acceleration. Others will get it on brakes, etc. You know, there will be slight differences still between all of the cars. But we're getting ready for the start of the second race here. Making sure not to miss the upshift from second. So we've got a better start this time through, but things are closing up a little bit more into turn one. Mercedes on the outside trying to squeeze us a little bit more. Nearly 3 wide with the KTM. That's a KTM that's gone round the outside of all of us from 16th on the grid. But there's been a couple of bumps into turn 4. And we've managed to just hold the outside and avoid them. That is very lucky. You just seen the bumps. The first bump, someone bumped into someone. They bumped into the next car in front of them. And then a car got spun on the inside. Just took it cautiously, stayed as far right as they could. And we managed to escape. There's been another instance on the run through the dunes, finishing the first sector. But we end lap 1 in 15th place, right where we started it. Right onto the gravel there. Luckily, from the instant, we have a bit of space behind us, so we won't lose any positions from that. Side by side up in front between an Alpine and a purple Mercedes. Still side by side, good racing here through the penultimate corner. Looks like the Alpine's just going to get in front for the final corner. Mercedes slots back into line. For Mercedes, a bit more straight line speed, maybe is looking to the inside as they head towards turn 1. Alpine runs a little bit wide, having to leave space for the Mercedes. Slots back into line. Alpine's very slow on the run to turn 2 and 3. Have to make sure not to drive into the back of the Alpine as we get very close. Another instant behind into turns 2 and 3. Alpine does seem to be struggling for straight line speed as we really were closing up. Alpine goes defensive.
Clear on the right.
We look to the outside.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Not quite able to go the long way round. But if we get a good exit here, which we don't compared to the Alpine. Alpine's gone in a little too deep on the brakes and has murdered the Ginetta. I could see that one coming. The Alpine just not able to slow it down on the brakes. You could see they were looking to the inside, trying to get some cleaner on the car to get slowed down. Of course, being in the slipstream right behind the other car, you're not getting that, or you're not getting the downforce, and just causes you to sort of slide into the car in front of you. But at that point, you've already committed to the brakes. You can't sort of do anything to avoid it. You just gotta hope the driver in front notices and lifts off the brake, runs a little bit deeper so you don't hit them. But unfortunately, the Ginetta did not notice. And their rear bumper will now have the implant of a Alpine front bumper in it. More battles going on up ahead. I haven't even reached any lapped traffic yet. There is one car that's fallen quite away. White Ginetta off into the grass. We're just trying to close up to the Mercedes here. They will have been quite glad to have got past the Alpine when they did.
Yellow flag, be careful there.
Looks like that car we were approaching to that
The fastest laps are through.
has slowed down to head into pit lane, I think. And they've disqualified themselves for speeding in pit lane. That's quite impressive around here. It's very easy to speed in pit lane here at Zandvoort, but to speed is so much that you get disqualified has been impressive with that chicane that is right on the pit entry. But you have to remember that the speed limit line is right as soon as the pit wall starts, which isn't typical for racetracks. Usually it's, you know, a bit beyond that. You generally find yourselves maybe having the chicane that slows you down, then you speed up a little bit before braking hard for the speed limit, and you just focus on taking that chicane as fast as you can. Zolder is one of those tracks where you've got that chicane on pit entry. Nürburgring 2, technically, you have to slow down for the inside of the final corner where the pit entry is, and then you speed up before stopping for the line just as you sort of get to the start of the pit building. A few meters before it really. By here, the pit entry board, you can just quickly see it there on the right hand side, right where the tire barrier is at the end of the pit wall. Watch your rejoin, Alpine. But yeah, Alpine having an instant in turn 1, well off deep into the gravel. Managed to get in front. That gives us P11. another instant further back in the pack at T1. Mercedes off in the grass. That Mercedes also had issues in the previous race. As they are indicating, probably have just forgotten to turn it off for something. This is shaping up to be a three-way battle between the two marks and ourselves. Maybe even a four-way battle should the Alpine behind us be able to close in. They're only a second back. Black Mercedes has got to run through the final corner that gets to the inside as they head down towards turn 1. Mercedes manages to get the move done. On the inside, did have a little bit of contact, but gets a couple of wheels on the grass, runs in deep round the hairpin here. Purple Mercedes isn't going to be able to find a way past. Gives us a little bit of a run, but you can't really do anything with the run down here. Both Mercedes running wide. We'll get to the inside of the purple one and we'll slide in front through the right-hander. And with that, the Alpine is now in the back of the purple Mercedes. Now hopefully distract the Mercedes to allow us to break away with the black Mercedes in front. But yeah, per lap for the purple Mercedes, losing 2 spots so far. We'll see if the Alpine is able to make it 3 shortly. Everyone just dipping wheels into the grass on the outside of the final corner. Just over 19 minutes left in the race. Black Mercedes is out wide in front. Mercedes behind is defending from the Alpine. Black Mercedes is out wide once again. I do have the low beams on. That's what the green light represents in the bottom right. It will go blue if I put the full endurance beams on. There's still enough light left in the sky that they're not needed. We're putting pressure on the Mercedes here. Purple Mercedes behind, still defending from the Alpine. Black Mercedes runs in deep, has to take to the gravel. And will manage to get that position. Costly mistake for the Mercedes. That puts us back up into P9 where we finished the first race. Black Mercedes making quite a few mistakes while we were following them. If they continue to do so, we should be able to stay in front of the purple Mercedes. Got their braking all wrong into turn 1. They nearly hit the black Mercedes, but they run wide and allow the Alpine past up into P11. We have a 3.5 second gap to the cars in front. Bit of a pack. There, that looks like from 4th all the way to 8th. So a 5-car pack. Will be difficult to catch up to them if they don't battle each other and slow each other up, which they look like they might be doing. It might be side by side. Ginetta on the inside. As I run wide myself. Ginetta on the inside for Camaro. Run wide again. Getting into the ABS. That's allowed the Mercedes to close back up. We're definitely closing in on the cars in front. Mercedes has a much better run through the final corner, so pull over to defend the inside. And Alpine has completely missed their braking point and just bodied the Mercedes out of the way, unfortunately. I think I want to run away from that Alpine as fast as I can. But looks like it has fallen back a few positions. Halfway through the race. This one has been just as chaotic, but for different reasons. First race was all thanks to lapped cars. This race hasn't needed any lapped cars to interfere to be just as chaotic. We are continuing to close in to the cars in front. Ginetta has made up a few positions up to 8 at the expense of a couple of Camaros. Fastest lap of this race is at 44.1, which is a bit faster than what we did in the first race. Of course, the cooler track temp will be the reason for that. Just helps the tires not overheat as much, therefore get a little more performance out of them, a little more grip. Especially through all these long corners, these long right-handers, through the middle and end of the lap. We have nearly a 3-second gap to the 111 Mercedes behind us. Just under 2 seconds to the train in front of us. So I am. Kind of a bit of a drink too, but unfortunately the straights are so short here. Don't really have the time for it. beyond the 111 Mercedes behind us. It's the 96 Alpine, but it's a good 10 seconds back from us. See the cars in front. The gaps between them are just opening up. We've got cars spun. That's the Maserati that we were catching at the end of the first race. That puts us up into P8. I wish I remembered to save the replay of the first race. Unfortunately, as I was saying, with the cars in front spreading out, they're not slowing each other down as much, and as such they're pulling away a slight little bit. And no need to be sorry, Geeky, it's really up to me to remember. So with 9 minutes to go in the race, we're just kind of finding ourselves in a bit of no man's land. Did run a little bit quicker than the car in front last lap, but I don't think we're quite able to do that consistently every single lap. I haven't been monitoring the lap times too closely, so I don't know if that was just a slow lap from them, but I don't think it was a sort of a quick lap from myself, so I'm going to suspect it might have just been a slow lap from them. Looks like the Ginetta's caught up to another car and is putting pressure on them. With how this race has gone so far, something could very well happen between them. Understeer through there, had to be patient applying the throttle. It's an Alpine that the Ginetta is catching up to in the distance. Looks like they've dropped back a little bit now. And we are closing in a little bit on that Camaro still. Gap down to about 1.5 seconds. Just check we don't have any damage. And I flicked that up very quickly. But I still said 30 seconds for a pit stop because change tyres is selected. So is damage repair, but if there was damage to be repaired, it'd say more than 30. That'd be our indicator for how much damage we have. We were nearly 0.3 quicker that lap than the Camaro ahead. Camaro running in deep into turn 1. We were also a little bit wide, but not quite as wide as the Camaro. So if we stay focused, keep putting in good clean laps, we could possibly catch up to Camaro. But I think it'll be very unlikely that we'll be able to pass it, because the pace difference is very slim. Bit of understeer through there, had to lift off the throttle, and that certainly cost us time. But I haven't really lost time to the Camaro this lap. Too much curb there. Managed to gather the car back up. So last lap from us was a 44.3. This lap's going to be a 45.0, which pretty much matches the Camaro in front, but was 7/10 slower than our previous lap. You know, if we didn't lose that time, we'd be within a second of the Camaro ahead. And it's just little things like that. The Camaro looked to be a little bit wide there. Just slightly brushed the grass. The Jeanette and the other Camaro up in front are side by side through the dunes. Dipping a wheel onto the grass on the inside. Doesn't cost us any time. But looks like the Janetta has lost that position to the purple Camaro. We're on for a better lap here than last lap. Still opening the gaps to the cars behind. Rear end starting to slide over the curb. As we carry on here, we're not really gaining on the Camaro anymore. If anything, it's pulled out a couple of tenths on us this lap. Yeah, 44.4 plays 44.6. And time is running out, just 3 laps to go. On for a better lap here, and we've closed in a couple of tenths on the Camaro. The Jeanette and Camaro, purple Camaro up in front are going side by side again, and they're costing themselves heaps of time. Very soon the white Camaro will be on their tail. Through the penultimate corner, side by side, Jeanette is on the outside. Slightly gone to the gravel there out of the penultimate corner myself.
Looks like they're still side by side as they go into turn 1. Look how much time they've lost. The Ginetta not able to complete the move, but will now be coming under pressure from the white Camaro just in front of us. 2 laps to go. This race isn't over yet. Just understeered onto the grass slightly. Bit of a scary moment, but was able to gather the car up. Camaro going a little bit defensive into the tight right-hander here from the Ginetta. You can see Ginetta looking to the outside. A little bit of a tap from the Ginetta on the rear of the purple Camaro. You can see we are certainly closing up. The gap was just over 4 seconds to those 2 cars when they started fighting. It's now only 1.5 seconds. We've got a slow car ahead. It is a lapped car. Leader starts the final lap. Ginetta is dropped back slightly from the Camaro.
Yellow flag accepted.
So out of the final corner on to the final lap. We're a little bit back, just under a second from the Camaro in front, but we gained a second that lap from the Camaro getting held up. The white Camaro that is getting held up by the Ginetta and purple Camaro fighting. Both the Ginetta and Camaro leading this train are pushing hard. Both of them were just onto the grass on the exit of the hairpin. And just to make things a little more interesting, we are catching a lapped car. Aston ran wide to let everyone through, which is appreciated. Good respect there. Ginetta running wide, trying to get the inside for the left-hander. The Camaro, white Camaro, trying to get a better exit than the Ginetta. We're just a little too far back to make anything happen here. But we could be close enough to take advantage should anything go wrong. But it looks like this little group are just going to keep it clean, which is good to see. Through the penultimate corner. Just 1 corner to go. It looks like the purple Camaro will hold on to P5. The Ginetta will have sell for P6. And we will take P8.
Good job, Nate. You did your best. Bring it back to the pits.
Just unfortunately a little too far back to really get into that battle. That shows you how difficult it can be to overtake Ryan Zandvoort, how narrow the track is and how much time you lose running side by side. If we didn't make a couple of the small mistakes we made during the race, you know, that lap that we had down in the 45s was mid 44, we would have been right on the back of that battle. And whether we'd been able to have made a move or get past one of them, it's unlikely. We've seen how difficult it was to pass, but we would have been there. And for if there was that slight opportunity, if we could have got the momentum to get alongside the white Camaro, maybe grabbed P7, we maybe could have done something. But that is a maybe, not an if. Or an if, not a when would. You know. Everyone has crossed the line. There's the replay saved. We can see some close battles. I can't remember what order the top 3 finished in the first race. I know it was the same top 3 as the second race here. I can't remember if the order has switched or not. But an Alpine getting up to 4th and a Camaro in 5th makes it 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 for the second race here. And the server resets itself before we can even complete the in-lap. So, yeah. That is that. You think it was the same order? Or yeah, it might have been. It is interesting to see the Mercedes got fastest lap. You could tell from the little purple icon in the position box, the 2. It was purple instead of red, indicating final lap. Fastest lap, sorry. But, yep, let's head to full screen. Let us check the replay. Actually, to do that, let's switch back here. One of the cars I'm interested in is this Maserati. They had a spin. It looks like it was on this lap. This lap just looks a bit longer. We can see here they're currently up in P4. Just keep it on the broadcast cameras. Well, speed it up a bit. It was over the final corner, wasn't it, for this incident? Yeah, it was the same. Geeky confirming. Thank you very much, Geeky. And we can see here the Maserati in a fight with the Alpine over at P4. Through the final corner here. The Maserati just lost it by themselves, gone to the grass slightly. They already had a little bit of oversteer as they hit the grass. And that just meant that it was unsalvageable. Span round, hit the inside wall quite heavily with the front end. Let's see that in chase cam. So we'll see here, just understeering a little bit wide, get onto the grass and just snag in a way that causes the car to spin as it is loaded up. Luckily for them, they managed to have a gap. They didn't have to wait too long. But of course, a lot of damage to the car. And let's see, they finished up done in 17th. Well, I'm saying that assuming they do finish here and they don't get past. They do get past, so it will be P18 for them by the end of the race. Let's have a look actually back at what happened on the start. This KTM, you can see there's us on the inside. This KTM just has the space, goes right around the outside, gets it done on the brakes. Yeah, well done to them. The Mercedes just maybe a bit too concerned with trying to cover me off on the inside, left them a little vulnerable. And then, was it the Mercedes? Was it this Mercedes? It's not that Mercedes, it's that one. Was it them or was it the car behind? It was this Mercedes that started it off. They got into the back of the KTM. The KTM got into the door of the Mercedes in front. Mercedes had a little bump on the wall, but managed to keep it going. You know, they'll absolutely take that over getting spun like the KTM and the Mercedes. And the Mercedes, after causing that, leaves the KTM on the apex and drives off. They've lost quite a few positions themselves. More cars getting involved in that. Let's take a quick look if I find the right button. At what ensues behind. So can already see the Camaro, the blue Camaro there, is really close. So after the Mercedes hits the KTM, the Camaro hits the hits the back of the Mercedes. There's all around incident happening at the previous corner. And you can see things just get up. The blue Camaro gets turned. People are just trying to find a way to go to the outside. They stop. More bumping as people just aren't quite ready to have a car stopped. And McLaren was spun there. Oh. Just noticing this as cars come through. The yellow, what is that? Is that an Alpine? That's a McLaren. Tag a silver Porsche, spin it around in front of the KTM. So the KTM lost even more time from that. And then the McLaren lost it all by themselves. Oh no, they just got tagged by Porsche trying to avoid as well. So things concertinating up quite a bit. But yeah, that shows you have to be really have your wits about you on the start, really paying attention, really focused on what's going ahead in front of you, to try and avoid stuff like that. We got lucky; we were sort of in the right place to manage to avoid that, you know. So yeah, wrong place going into turn one. The KTM was able to take advantage of that, but then we were. But then KTM found themselves in the wrong place come T4. But yeah, that is... There's nothing else I specifically remember from the race that I won't go look at. So with that, we shall move on to our usual Art of Rally for the end of stream. Let us just close out of ACC. And get Art of Rally loaded up. It's just taking a wee moment to load here. I can tell you it was at least 100 kilometers an hour. So it was. The thresholds for speeding penalties in the pit lane is up to 55 kilometers an hour. 50, remember, is the limit. 55, up to 55, gets you a drive-through penalty. Over 55 gets you a stop-go 30 unless you're over 100 kilometers an hour. That gets you disqualified, being over 100 kilometers an hour. So yes, at least 100 kilometers an hour for the, what do you call it? It was the 431, whatever they were driving. So, the weekly event. Now, we have a 3.7 mile gravel stage in Sardinia, is this? I think it's Sardinia. Yes, Sardinia. I didn't quite see what class this was. I think it might be B or S. It's certainly one of the faster classes, for sure. I'm sure one of you managed to spot what class it was before it loaded in. This has been a good stage so far. I didn't quite sort of maximise the opening part of the stage, but I wouldn't say I've made any mistakes. Getting towards the end of the stage now. I just turned in slightly early for that left-hander. Had to turn out of the corner to not hit the house and just clip that inside wall there. Could cost us a little bit of time, but right up to the end, it's a 203.5. Gets us 31st, which is once again pretty consistent with where we've been in the recent events over the daily events sort of the past few weeks, and the weekly events now for like a good 6 weeks. But yeah, only the top 15%, interestingly. Usually it's about top 10% this far up. So maybe not as many people completing tonight's event. Looks like a Peugeot 405 GTI. And you're thinking Group S? Yeah, I'm fairly sure that was Group S. The styling doesn't quite remind me of any Group B or Group A cars. And I just know from the performance and the sort of styling that, yeah, that would fit right in with Group S. So pretty sure that's Group S. Someone else you were watching was trying to beat their friend's time in Finland in a Group 2. How much faster I would be? I don't know. Depends how fast they are, of course. Right, on to the weekly event. I accidentally hit begin before I could review the leaderboard. We're racing Group 4 for this week's event at Indonesia. We've got rain for the first stage. It's a shorter 2.7 mile stage. Just gotta make sure we don't overdrive the car. Now that we've dropped into a lower class, it doesn't quite have as much grip. And of course, raining, reducing that grip even further. Of course, definitely very slightly compared to the Peugeot we just driven. And I've just driven it into a wall. Or a hay bale, I should say. It was only a light tap, so hopefully shouldn't have any damage, but of course we did lose a bit of time having to reverse there. Careful over the crest. Luckily that little stand was destructible. Otherwise that'd be a bit annoying. That would have cost us quite a lot of time had it been solid. Probably would have given us a bit of damage too. I'd say this stage has been a little bit messy as we've been sliding around. By 204.8 puts us again 31st. That's quite a coincidence. Luckily this time it is in the top 10%. And so now we move on to a dry stage, 4 miles this time. stage has been good so far, but we're only about a quarter of the way through. Once again, glad that wasn't solid. Made sure to get the car rotated early before the crest. Quite a few crests here in Indonesia that can easily catch you out. Send you sliding off the stage as the car goes light. When you need the grip need the grip the most. Final corner now. 2.1 gets us up to 25th. So making up 6 places that stage. Now we're going back to the 2.7 mile stage that we started on. This time in the dry. Let's see, any repairs? No, just clean the car. Let's see what we can do on this stage now. It is dried up. Hopefully not hit a hay bale this time. Nearly got into that tree. Just taking a tighter line through the right-hander to open up the left-hander there. Carrying more speed out and down this next section of stage. Just clipped the inside wall. Awkwardly spun across the bridge. Had to do a 3-point turn to get going the right way again. That'll probably have damaged the car a little bit, just with how collisions are with walls in this game. Very small mistake. Bridge walls are very unforgiving in this game, as you can see. And so 155.9 in 28th, so we drop a few positions, so I'm surprised we didn't drop more, to be honest. We're finishing off this weekly event with a 6.5 mile stage in the sunset. Hopefully you can make back those positions that we just lost. Might a little bit wide there. Can't tell if the car has a bit of damage or not, to be honest. It might do, but I'm just going to drive as if it doesn't. Quite the jump there. or the fast stage. This one. Really having to make sure I'm looking as far ahead as possible to be able to prepare for the corners that are coming up. Whether they be over crests, whether they start quite open and then tighten up, or whether they directly into another corner. About 2/3 of the way through the stage now. Nearly turned in too soon to that right-hander. That jump was a little awkward. Car sliding around a bit, trying to put down the power there. Car certainly struggles a bit for traction in second gear. Welcome, Martin. Sorry to tell you, but we're just finishing off the last stage of the day in Art of Rally before we end off stream here. So as we come up to the line, it'll be a 3:21.8 for the final stage. That gets us back up to 25th, where we were at the end of the second stage. So a couple of mistakes there, hitting the high beam in the first stage, and then just tapping that wall on the bridge of the second stage, or third stage, sorry. I thought there was a couple of mistakes. Could have been a couple of places higher, maybe. Let's see, we were 1.1 seconds, or sorry, 1 second and 2 thousandths off P24. Just a couple of tenths up to 23rd, and another 4 tenths up to 22nd. Then you have to go 3 seconds further up to 21st, nearly 5 seconds in front of us. So without those couple of mistakes, maybe could have been 22nd, 21st, around there. But well, that is the way things go. Better late than never, yes, of course, better late than never, indeed. But yes, as I said, that is the daily and the weekly event done for Art of Rally for today, and that is also going to be the stream. We had a couple of good races, sort of in our return to ACC for what was a couple of months now. It was fun. I'll not spoil it too much for those who are joining a little bit late, like Martin, of where we qualified. We had good races. First race was a bit of carnage from some lapped cars. Obviously had issues early in the race. Found themselves a lap down, caused a bit of trouble for the battles that we were in. But not necessarily for us specifically. And then, yeah, the second race had just as much chaos, pretty much, but not from lapped cars this time, just from close battling, a couple of mistakes from people, it should be said. But yeah, a couple of good races that I might put into a highlights video, to be honest. I'll see if someone can share the if anyone has the replay for the first race I can get, and yeah, I might make that a highlight video, get some of the TV cameras, throw it in for a 15-minute highlight video, possibly. But yeah, that might come out in August, maybe. We'll see. I haven't mentioned this on stream, I don't think yet, but I'm going away in August, so there won't be any streams, and any videos that come out sort of throughout the whole of August will be sort of pre-recorded. I've already got a VSTC video from this week saved up for a backlog to help fill the month of August. But yeah, speaking of that, future-wise, we obviously we had a video yesterday. If you didn't see, no, I'm not going skiing. I'm going to meet some people. Is all I'll say. Should be fun times. Nothing too specific planned other than just meeting people, to be honest. But oh, and then, well, technically 2 trips in August, to be honest. That one and later in the month going over for the Silverstone Classic, which is final weekend in August. So, yes, I'll be home for maybe like 5 or so days in between the 2 trips. So, might be able to make a video, might stream once, depends what's going on at the time. Yeah, that's like over a month in the future. Yeah, as I was saying, had a Forza video out yesterday. Joined FTC's Lancer Cup for a round. I had a free Wednesday. Those events are on, so I joined and had some good racing at Maple Valley. Very changeable conditions. 0 laps of practice. So I love learning, but some good fun battles. Then earlier today, we had the versus community from this week. A couple of races in that. Unfortunate gridlock starting towards the back, but give us some good racing at Mid-Ohio and a wet Yas Marina. So yeah, if you haven't seen them, please do. If you have the time, check them out if you're interested. And then yeah, there this week there will be another BeamNG Rally video as usual. Of course, then Silverstone Classic really good. You were there a couple of years ago now, and was great fun. Yeah, yeah, it should be good fun. Not the first time I've been to Silverstone. I went 6 years ago now for the F1 Grand Prix, which was good fun. Again, see, not just the F1 itself, but the support series as well, and the demo runs. It was like, they were celebrating, I think, 70 years of Silverstone that year. So they had a demo run with a range of cars through the decades. That was really nice to see. Again, here the old classic engines as well. They also had the 2-seater at the time, which uses a V10, I believe, for the F1 experience. 2-seater experience for guests and fans that you can buy it for. Obviously, very expensive. Not something that just anyone can afford, but yeah, it was still very nice to see those couple of cars running around, listening to those engines. So, yeah, that's it. Next stream, haven't mentioned that. I don't know when it will be, to be honest. I have nothing planned at the moment. I might see if I can get something fun planned, but nothing planned at the moment. Going away in August, I can't really commit to like, oh, I'm going to join this series. And there isn't really any series I'm too interested in joining that I would be streaming. So, yeah, might take a little break from streaming, but I'll try and get something in the next couple of weeks to so it's not a super long break until like September or something. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yes, as I've been waffling on here, Minardi had 5 two-seaters, raced them, didn't end well. That's unfortunate. Would have been a really cool experience though to be in a two-seater, not just going for some demo laps, but also racing again with other two-seaters. That would actually be really cool. So yeah, would have been a very cool experience. But yeah, it would obviously when you're racing, there's always the chance of crashing, which isn't good, especially when you've got guests in your car, and they're not exactly going to be like race fit or anything, so they're a bit more likely to get injured. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you Kiki, Martin, Corey, and Kevin for sticking around, being around the stream today. Of course, to anyone else throughout the stream that has been lurking, I've noticed I think a few people have been lurking from the viewer numbers, but yeah, viewer lurking always appreciated, and never any pressure to say hello. Of course, I would pretty much every stream I watch, I end up lurking in. So, you're seen and you're appreciated. Thank you for being around. As I mentioned, don't know when the next stream will be exactly, so I'm not sure when I'll see you next. But hopefully, you all enjoy the videos in the meantime. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your weeks, and until whenever next time is, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.